The Club World Cup final happened about 2 weeks ago. Chelsea absolutely dismantled PSG, and you might be asking, why now? Why did I wait 2 weeks to make a video on that shit? First reason is because I had no access to my computer, so I couldn't make a video. And the second reason is I've been thinking about this final for about a while now, and why I've been thinking about this final is because I think this final finally proved my point that I think had Barcelona made that final, we would have beat PSG, bro. And honestly, that makes the semifinal hurt a bit more. Uh, the semifinal loss against Inter hurt just a bit more considering we were just 2 minutes away. And the narrative that came after the Champions League final was that anybody who played that PSG team would have gotten destroyed, that they were just too good for everybody. And obviously, it didn't look good that Barcelona had just lost that game to Inter. It looks like we would have gotten destroyed by PSG, right? If you use football math, which I don't know why people still use that shit. It never works out. Football is a game of styles, and it's about how you play on the day. But anyways, I want to talk about what Chelsea did to beat PSG. Now, what Chelsea did very well was that they outpressured them, they outworked them, they outran them, and they didn't let them get set. PSG is the best team on the planet when they get set, when they're past the halfway line and they're set and their center backs are pinging the ball around to the midfielders, and Vitinha and João Neves and Fabian Ruiz are just running around picking up the ball and then just looking for balls in behind or just linking up with the forwards, bro. That's when they're the best team in the world, bro. But what I did notice leading up to that final is that they do, under pressure in their own half, they do seem to crumble a little bit, bro. They have a hard time handling that. You saw it against Aston Villa in the second half of the second leg. You saw that against Arsenal in the first leg in the Champions League semifinal. They didn't look too good in that game either. They were very lucky to get away with that win. But Arsenal didn't look too good either, but PSG just didn't have the ball at all. Um, Bayern Munich in the quarterfinal of the Club World Cup, they absolutely dominated them. They were very unlucky not to get away with that win there. They were very, very unlucky to lose that game. Bayern Munich were, and yeah, but when you let this team play like Real Madrid let this team play. They don't have people up front that will press relentlessly. Mbappe and Vinny just aren't gonna do it as much as you tell them. They're just half-minded football players. They just don't give a fuck. They think they're too good to play the sport for whatever reason, and they won't press like that. So of course PSG are gonna look good. They're gonna score 5 goals when you allow them to get into that set offense past the halfway line, bro. And that's what they were able to do, and then they dominated. But with teams that pressure them, that teams that don't let them do what they want, they struggle, bro. And you saw that in the final against Chelsea, bro. Because Chelsea are not that good of a team, bro. They're not that good. They're decent, but they're not good enough to beat PSG 3-0 and make it look easy, bro. They never showed signs of being that. And I think with how Barcelona played last season, the overwhelming press, we would not have let them a second to get out of their half. We would not have given them any space to do anything they wanted. I think we would have just fucking overran them, bro. I think if we play that final, we would beat that team, bro. And I think it's so fucking hypothetical, man. This is so fucking annoying, dude. But I think this makes my prediction of Inter beating PSG in that final a bit better, bro. If I'm being honest. I think the Botafogo game is a perfect example of what I expected to happen in that final, but Inter just never showed up. They just never got a hold of the game. Botafogo just stayed in their half the whole time, camped. PSG looked a lot better, but Botafogo were able to get the counter, and then they scored. I was expecting Inter to play like that in the final, but they just weren't able to do it. Botafogo were very efficient how they did it, and they were very good defensively. Even though PSG are the best team in the world offensively when they're past the halfway line, they were able to handle it very well. Good job. But it has to be taken into consideration that 5 PSG starters weren't playing. But I still think if Inter had... Oh, fuck, dude. I'm going to be haunted by that game forever, bro, because I was so sure that Inter were going to win that, and then they just lose 5-0. I just think had they come a bit more efficiently, if had they come more like Barcelona, they would have won that game as well, dude. And yeah, I just I don't know, dude. And this game is very it's about sports is about who shows up on the day, obviously, and I just think Barcelona would have beat that PSG team in that final, dude. We would have outran them. I think they wouldn't have had an answer for Lamine running down the right side. Mendes was very good, obviously, but with the way that he was, Yamal was playing up until the second leg of the semifinal, dude. I just don't think anyone in the world was stopping him at that point. Obviously, what happened a month later in that Nations League final that happened, but I just feel like Barca would have won that final, bro, and that just makes that loss just hurt just a bit more, bro, because I feel like we were the exact answer, bro, and unfortunately Chelsea got to show the world how to beat them first, bro. I would have liked to have seen Barca be the ones to show the world how to beat this PSG team, and it's just relentless pressure, just overwhelming them because they have a hard time building up the back, dude. And I think Barca would have been able to do that at a higher level as well. But Chelsea did it. Chelsea played well. They looked really good. Cole Palmer obviously was very special. Um, yeah, congrats to them. Uh, I also want to talk about how football fans are damn near ruining the sport. The narratives that I saw drawn from this game was the most low IQ, boring, lame shit I've ever seen in my life. Literally the day before the final, Dembele was having Ballon d'Or talks. Mendes is the best left back in the world. Vitinha is the best midfielder in the world. Then 20 minutes after the final, apparently Dembele was always just shit. I always had that opinion, but apparently the internet's opinion on him changed in a day. Mendes is overrated, and Vitinha is a fucking sprinter, and that's it. I'm sick and tired of narratives being drawn after one game, bro. The same shit happened to Lamine after the final, uh, after the Nations League final, where he probably had the worst game I've ever seen him play. He played fucking terrible. But after that game, dude, the amount of people that I saw say that he's normal, he's average, he wasn't that good ever. It's just so infuriating, and I don't know if it's just people who never have opinions on the sport and then they just decide to come out of their crevices when they see someone they hate fail and they just come out and say that dumb shit, or if people are actually changing their opinions in one day, bro. Either way, I'm sick of that shit. It's not good for the sport. It's boring as hell. Uh, it's boring. It's not good conversations to have. It's not fact driven. It's just what sounds easier to say. And obviously Dembele didn't play good in that final. I don't think Dembele is even that good of a player, obviously, honestly. But I think he's transitioned well and he's very motivated at PSG. I think that's what's made him look that good. But to say that he's just not that good ever is a complete disservice to the sport. And Vitinha is one of the best midfielders in the world as well. Just because he had an off game, just because Chelsea played very well, doesn't take away the fact that Vitinha is one of the best in the world as well. And don't fall into this trap of just boxing players to one game because it takes away the beauty of the sport, bro. There's so much to enjoy, so much to love about the sport, bro, and to kind of take all that beauty and strip it down to a shit 90 minutes is not it's not fair to the players and to the sport. So, yeah, that's kind of a little rant I wanted to have at the end of the video. But yeah, Barca would have been world champions. I mean, European champions. We couldn't have played the World Cup anyways, but we would have been European champions. I am so sure of that had we won that final, that semifinal. Uh, and yeah, dude, I think we would have had the perfect answer. But it is what it is, dude. These things happen for a reason, and we'll be back next season. I'm 90% certain that we will win um, a treble, considering we have an actual good keeper now in Juan Garcia. And yeah, dude. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.